The rain came down in torrents, transforming the quiet streets of Willow Creek, Texas, into a churning sea of mud and despair. Thunder roared like a primal beast, shaking the earth, while the sky hung heavy, a bruise of gray and black that swallowed the sun. In the heart of this chaos stood a lone figure, drenched to the bone, his silhouette sharp against the flickering glow of emergency lights. He was directing a fleet of trucks laden with crates of water, blankets, and food, his voice cutting through the storm's howl. It was Elon Musk, billionaire, dreamer of Martian colonies, a man whose name echoed in boardrooms and headlines. Yet here he was, knee-deep in floodwater, far from the spotlight, risking everything to save a forgotten town. For 3 days he worked in silence, his presence a mystery to those around him. No cameras followed, no tweets announced his deeds. But when the truth of his actions broke through the storm, the people of Willow Creek wept, their gratitude louder than the thunder that had haunted their skies. The summer of 2025 had been merciless in Texas. Weeks of unrelenting rain had turned rivers into raging torrents, bursting levees and swallowing entire communities. Willow Creek, a small town on the fringes of Houston, was among the hardest hit. Once a quaint grid of clapboard houses and family-owned shops, it was now a landscape of ruin, rooftops peeking above murky water, cars half submerged like relics of a lost world. The air was thick with the sour tang of damp wood and decay, punctuated by the distant wail of sirens and the rhythmic thump of rescue helicopters battling the wind. Families huddled in makeshift shelters, their faces gaunt with exhaustion, their eyes hollow with the fear of what tomorrow might bring. Clean water was a memory, food a scarce rumor. The world, it seemed, had turned its back on them. Elon Musk was in Austin that week, his mind consumed by the intricate dance of a SpaceX launch. The Falcon Heavy was set to carry a prototype satellite into orbit, a step toward his dream of a multiplanetary future. His days were a blur of meetings, data streams, and late-night calculations, his phone buzzing with updates from engineers and investors. Yet amidst the chaos, a single message stopped him cold. It was a post on X, raw and desperate, from a pastor named Sarah in Willow Creek. "We're drowning," she wrote. "No one's coming. The kids are drinking rainwater. Please, someone help us." It wasn't addressed to him, just a cry into the digital void, but it landed in his notifications like a lightning bolt. He read it 3 times, his fingers hovering over the screen, his mind already shifting gears. The launch could wait. This couldn't. He could have sent a donation, wired millions to relief organizations, or retweeted Sarah's plea to his legion of followers. Instead, he chose action. By midnight, he was on a private plane to Houston, the hum of the engines a stark contrast to the storm raging outside. His usual entourage was replaced by a lean crew of SpaceX and Tesla logistics experts, handpicked for their ability to solve problems under pressure. The cabin was silent save for the soft clatter of Musk's fingers on his tablet, mapping supply routes, calculating distances, and sourcing warehouses. He hadn't slept in 36 hours, but his eyes burned with a restless intensity, a man possessed by a mission only he could see. Willow Creek was a scene from a dystopian nightmare when he arrived at dawn. The community center, perched on the town's highest ground, had become a refuge for nearly 400 people. Its walls smelled of mildew and stale coffee, the floors slick with mud tracked in by frantic volunteers. Lanterns cast flickering shadows, their weak light battling the gloom of a power outage. Sarah, the pastor, moved through the crowd like a weary general, her braid fraying, her voice hoarse from directing volunteers. She handed out the last of their supplies, a few bottles of water, a box of granola bars that wouldn't feed half the children. Outside, the floodwaters churned, a relentless brown tide that swallowed street signs and dreams alike. Musk's Tesla Cybertruck rolled up under a sky that seemed to weep endlessly, its angular frame cutting through the rain like a blade. He stepped out in a black jacket, already soaked, his boots sinking into the mud. No one recognized him at first. He was just another figure in the chaos, his face obscured by the hood of his jacket as he directed a convoy of trucks loaded with crates of water, blankets, medical kits, and non-perishable food. His team moved with the precision of a rocket launch, unloading under tarps as the rain hammered down. Sarah approached him, mistaking him for a relief worker. "Who sent you?" she asked, her eyes bloodshot from sleepless nights. "Nobody," he said, his voice low, almost lost in the wind. He was checking a clipboard, his hands steady despite the cold seeping through his clothes. "Saw you needed help." His eyes met hers for a moment, a spark of determination passing between them. She didn't question him further. There was too much work to do. For 3 days, Musk was a force of nature, as relentless as the storm itself. He waded into knee-deep water to unload pallets, his hands blistering under the weight of crates. He spoke sparingly, but when he did, it was with a clarity that cut through the chaos. "Kids get water first," he told a volunteer, his voice firm as he handed over a case of bottles. "No exceptions." At night, he hunched over maps in the community center, the dim light of a lantern casting shadows across his face as he plotted new routes around washed-out roads. His mind, accustomed to solving equations for interplanetary travel, was now consumed by the logistics of survival. How many bottles per family? How many miles to the next town? How many hours until the next shipment arrived? The townspeople began to notice him, not his name, but his presence. He was the man who never stopped, who carried boxes when others faltered, who seemed to know exactly where help was needed most. A few whispered guesses. Was he a contractor? A rogue aid worker? But most were too exhausted to care. When a young girl, maybe 9, tugged at his sleeve and asked, "Are you a superhero?" he chuckled, a rare sound in the gloom. "Just a guy with a truck," he said, handing her a blanket. But his eyes lingered on her, on the way she clutched it like a lifeline. The conflict erupted on the second day. A local official, frazzled and territorial, cornered him outside the community center. The rain pounded the awning above, drowning out the murmurs of onlookers. "Who the hell are you?" the official snapped, his face flushed with stress. "We don't need outsiders taking over. You're not FEMA. You're not authorized." Musk didn't flinch, his gaze steady. "Your people are dying," he said, his voice low but sharp, like a blade honed by fatigue. "You want the supplies or not?" The official faltered, his authority crumbling under the weight of truth. He stepped aside, and Musk was already moving, directing a forklift through the mud. By the third day, the tide was turning, not the floodwaters, but the town's spirit. The community center was stocked with enough water and food to last a week. Musk's convoy had reached neighboring towns, delivering supplies to places the national relief efforts hadn't yet touched. He worked until his clothes were stiff with mud, his face gaunt from lack of sleep, his hands raw from labor. Yet he never slowed, driven by a quiet fury against the storm's indifference. The truth slipped out by chance. A volunteer, scrolling X during a rare moment of rest, saw a blurry photo of Musk hauling crates in the rain, posted by a local teenager with the caption, "This guy's saving us." The post exploded, retweets and comments piling up as the world connected the dots. By the time Musk prepared to leave, Willow Creek knew. They gathered outside the community center, their faces a mosaic of gratitude and awe. Sarah took a megaphone, her voice cracking as she spoke. "You didn't have to come," she said, tears mixing with the rain on her cheeks. "But you gave us hope. You gave us life." Musk shifted uncomfortably, the attention foreign in this context. "Just did what needed doing," he said, but his eyes scanned the crowd, the mothers cradling children, the old man clutching a bottle of water like a treasure. As he climbed into his truck, the crowd erupted, their cheers a defiant roar against the fading storm.